This episode of Good Times, Great Movies is sponsored by Criterion Now. And you might be saying to yourself, wait, that doesn't sound like a person's name. And you're right. We actually received a donation from another podcast. That podcast is called Criterion Now. It is a weekly podcast hosted by Aaron West, where he and a guest, or sometimes two, discusses new releases through Criterion, be it physical media, be it on their streaming channel Filmstruck. If you have any interest in art house cinema, foreign films, classic Hollywood, it's a really great podcast to sort of key you in on what's happening on the Criterion front week to week. Also, if you dig through past episodes, you might hear me on at least two of them. And by at least, I mean exactly two of them. So that is Criterion Now. Find it wherever you find podcasts. So let's get on with the show. This movie puts the ham in George Hamilton. Jamie? Let's go watch Zorro, the Gay Blade. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We are an 80s movie podcast. I am one of your two hosts. My name is Doug McCambridge. And with me, as always, is Jamie Lorello.
This did bring up, I thought about it right before we started to record, other movies that had double actors. I didn't think of it while watching, but right before we were going to record, there's a lot. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot.
I mean, that's a thing. I just watched The Full House where Uncle Jesse's cousin from... Where was Uncle Jesse
Greece?
from?
Wasn't he Greek?
Greece,
yeah.
Yes. His Greek cousin came, and it's just John Stamos with a mustache.
That's awesome.
It is terrible.
Did they let him wear a toga, or did they...
He was hitting on Aunt Becky. He was borrowing money. He was hustling Joey out of money and cards. Yeah, he was bad news, but it was sort of like, you know, in the end, he realized, who's my real family anyway? It's Danny Tanner and the gaggle that lives in that house.
It's Dee Tanner and the Full House crew.
Yeah. Although he did try and, like, swindle a bunch of... Like, he held a whole charity function? Somehow this guy from Greece that just showed up managed to put together an entire charity function and then was going to take all the proceeds and hop a plane.
What a swindler. Was it Jesse or Joey that caught him?
It was everybody but Jesse.
Oh, Jesse.
So they all had to convince him by secretly... Why am I telling you to watch this terrible show? In the end, Becky put a microphone in a vase of flowers.
And so they were very I Spy about it. All right.
Yeah. Well, she forgot to turn it on and then realized she didn't turn it on and then had to do the whole spiel again. It was pretty rotten. Even Carla, who watches Full House, I think, every night, was like, this is a terrible one. Why are you still watching this? I couldn't stop.
You couldn't stop. It was the duality that got you.
Yeah. So before, we haven't done a whole lot of housekeeping recently.
Oh, let's housekeep.
We jump into our movie, I don't even want to say what the movie is yet. Everybody knows because they hit play on their little podcast thingy, so they know what the show is, or the movie. If you're listening to this when it comes out on Friday, big news, we have our first bonus episode coming out tomorrow.
Be excited about it.
If you are a current patron, you have to go to the Patreon page, and the episode is there, so you can just hit play. It's only
yours.
Open to patrons.
Yep.
If you're not a patron, go to patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies, and if you donate just $1, that episode opens up for you.
You get it.
And it's a full episode. It clocks in at like an hour 25, so it's actually longer than some of our episodes. And there are things that we do in regular episodes, like this nonsense that you're hearing now, that we don't do in the bonus episodes. So it is quite a conversation. And Jamie, would you like to even say what the movie is? Because why not?
Should we?
Yeah, just say. Because maybe that'll entice people, because...
I don't think we should say. You think, we'll entice people to be patrons. I see what you mean.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be like, that sounds gross. I don't want to give these idiots money.
Well, it's a movie that I if you know, then you should definitely. Either way, you need to know our views on it.
Sure.
And you don't blame me. You don't blame Doug.
Nope.
You blame it on Rio, is what you're going to blame it on.
Please blame that episode on Rio. Blame the movie on Rio, I guess. Yeah. Can you blame an entire movie on City?
No.
If you can, this movie where a very old, and I had to look, and Michael Caine is 43 in the movie.
Yeah.
Real life, 50 years old.
Oh. Has
an affair with his friend's daughter, 17 years old, 17. Who in real life was 17 years old. It's gross.
Saucy. It's saucy, people.
It is, yes. Yeah. If you want to hear us at our most depraved and disgusting, go on and listen to that episode.
It's a gift.
Because it will never be released to the rest of the public, because I'm embarrassed for things we probably said.
And what my eyes did see, yes.
All right. Well, anyway, and that will always be there. Remember, everything bumps up. All bonus episodes after this bump up to the $5 patronage. Yeah. But this one will always be for any donation you can listen to this. So even if you don't have $1 today, but you have one 8 months from now.
And you want to blame it on someone.
And if you're not going to listen to us talk about it, please don't watch that movie. All right. So let's get into this movie, which is not nearly as offensive as Blame It on Rio.
It wasn't nearly as offensive as I thought it was going to be honest.
No, me neither.
I was expecting kind of bad things from this movie. A lot of uncomfortableness, awkwardness, a lot of... And I didn't get that. I didn't.
No, there was... And maybe this makes me a horrible human being. There were no moments in this movie where I kind of cringed and went, ooh, you shouldn't have said or done. No, when it happens, it's played for laughs.
It's so silly.
Over the top.
Yeah, it's so silly.
Okay, well, the movie is called Zorro, the Keyblade. From 1981.
Well, there's many.
Oh, there's a ton of Zorro.
Yeah, a lot of different Zorro movies. So you got to be specific when you're interpreting the legend of Zorro.
Yeah, I think at the end of the last episode, I told people to maybe just watch the original Zorro, but there's like 40 Zorro movies before this one, and I don't even know that any of them are just called Zorro.
No, and they all have. Well, but this one brings it all to a different level, I feel, and. God love George Hamilton. God love him.
Yeah, that dude. George Hamilton is one of those people, and even after watching this movie, I still ask, why do people know who George Hamilton is? Because it's one of those things where I remember, Louis Gossett Jr. Is a name that I know.
Okay.
And an actor that I know.
Okay.
And for the longest time, I was like, wait, how do people know about Louis Gossett Jr.?
Right.
Because it can't be from Iron Eagle. Nobody saw that. But then I finally saw An Officer and a Gentleman, and I went, Louis Gossett Jr.
Boom.
But George Hamilton, I looked through his extensive IMDb.
And it is extensive. I agree. It is extensive. The man does work.
But nothing jumped out at me.
I do think that one of the things that he was... By the way, he was nominated for an Academy Award for this role that he played in this movie.
No, Jamie, no. That
he was.
Be correct.
Mm-hmm.
No.
He was nominated. No. I promise you.
I refuse to believe that.
Or not an Academy Award. Sorry, a Golden Globe. It was an Academy Award. I take that back. You're right. For a award, not an Academy Award. Yeah.
Well, I guess Golden Globes,
in a comedy, because they
comedy and musicals together. Okay,
so it was for comedy.
I'm going to assume that there was no other comedy made in 1981.
Well, he did. He was. I guess he was kind of known as a serious actor, but I agree with you that I didn't really know anything that he had done or remembered. I think he's obviously very handsome, or like chiselly. He had a certain look about him.
Yes,
with the tan skin and I think he was in. I think it's Love at First Bite. It was a Dracula kind of comedy. But that's the only other thing.
But I don't even know that. Yeah. I don't think I've seen that. He's very tan. He's very tan.
Very tan.
And that's what he's known for. And that's good enough. That's fine.
That's good. And he's very funny. I have to say, I thought he was very funny in this movie.
I mean, this is George Hamilton's movie. I think everybody else is just kind of hanging out. And this is a George Hamilton.
Oh, it's a fiesta, if you will, of George Hamilton. He
plays two characters, and he also plays one of the characters at one point dressed in drag. So it's almost like he's playing three characters.
Yeah. And he takes them each. What about that scene where he does the one face and then he switches and he's the other face when he's kind of transforming from gay Zorro?
I have many questions about this movie.
I have to tell you, I didn't know until the switch is made, because we don't really see the gay Zorro till at least 40 minutes in, 30 minutes in.
I had to look at the timestamp, and it was 45 minutes into this movie before anybody gay, quote unquote, shows up in a movie called The Gay Blade.
But that's why I'm watching it, and I thought just George Hamilton playing the Don. The character he was playing, I thought, well, I guess he's just playing a subtle gay, because he had heavy eyeliner. He was sort of flamboyant. So I just thought, well, then when you meet the real gay Zorro, I was like, oh, no, this is the gay Zorro. But when we first meet him, you have to wonder.
Yeah, the gay Zorro is slightly more effeminate than the not gay Zorro.
The not gay Zorro is like a metrosexual or something. He's just yeah. He still likes
That's
to
what
look
I was thinking.
good.
I was like, oh, is the big reveal that Zorro's just gay at the end of this?
But then, no, they up their gay game.
Oh, my God. Yes. So let's get – I mean, other than George Hamilton, there's Lauren Hutton.
Yeah, with the gap, the beautiful gap. Ron Liebman is the other actor that plays. I just wrote down the commander, Esteban, and I
kept calling him the mayor, and I was like, he's not the mayor.
I was like, commander, mayor. He's like the guy in charge of his volume control was off the roof. Was very. But I thought that the supporting cast did a great job too.
He was best when he was on screen with George Hamilton.
Oh, their interactions together.
Say, I'm going to out George Hamilton. George Hamilton in this scene, and George Hamilton was like, "Fuck you, no way.
Totally.
I'm George Hamilton. Totally. This is my movie."
Yeah, their scenes together are it's like watching Dynamite. It's just it's fun.
Jamie, speaking of Lauren Hutton. Are she and Beverly D'Angelo the same person? For the longest time, I was like,
one has a gap
Beverly
in her
D'Angelo.
teeth, the other one doesn't. They do have very similar.
My God,
looks.
Is there listeners? I have a job for you. Is there a picture of the two of them together? Because I think they're the same person. I think she's been collecting 2 paychecks from Hollywood. All right, so let's get into this movie because it's not a very long movie, and there isn't a whole lot that happens. I think this is. And I've said this before and that we've spoken for an hour, 40 minutes, but I don't think there's a whole lot happening in this movie. Well, maybe I'm wrong. You're looking at me like I am wrong.
No,
and there's
not wrong.
so much to go over.
I thought some of the lines in here were really fun and funny. I thought some of the timing in here was really great. I agree that a lot, you can kind of summarize this and then this and that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes my husband will watch these with me and sometimes he just does not. So he didn't this time. He watched, I think, the last 10 minutes. And I was able to just get him to the quick in 2. So in reality, there's not a lot that happens, but at the same time.
Right. Well, I mean, you could say that about any movie. I remember watching Good Will Hunting with somebody. And at the end of the movie, they were like, I could have told that story in 10 minutes. I'm like, well, yeah, anybody could. You could say it you could tell Star Wars in 10 minutes. Yeah. That doesn't mean anything.
You're right.
All right. So for some reason, and it doesn't really make sense that the movie starts with like newsreel footage. Is this newsreel footage of Zorro?
Yeah.
It reminded me very much of like a Three Amigos movie.
Yes. It started out with a little kind of black and white Zorro.
Yeah, black and white, like, he helps poor people. Yeah. And he's kind of like a Robin Hood, I guess.
Yes.
Just to, I guess, establish, and the reason I thought it might be a newsreel is to establish that Zorro is a real person. He's like a real character that exists. So this movie isn't about the birth of Zorro because he's already doing it.
In action, right.
When this movie starts.
Yes.
Right. Yes, has done it.
People know of him.
So we are greeted to George Hamilton after this. And he's wearing, the outfits in this movie, Jamie, even when he's not the gay blade. Like, at the beginning, he's laying in bed with this woman wearing all white, like a big, blousy, puffy shirt that is open to the navel with, like, a huge silver medallion around his neck.
That's right.
And tight white pants. Like, looks ridiculous.
And extreme eyeliner, always. When he's not the gay blade, he's wearing so much, like, smoky eyes. It's ridiculous.
The eyeliner is shocking because the camera sometimes is so tight on his face. I'm like, it's not like you're in the theater and you just need to make everything more extreme so people in the back can see it.
Right.
No, this is a movie and they're just painting his face with this eyeliner.
Yep. But it's part of his look. It's part of, I guess, his, like, handsome man look. And again, for the first 40 minutes of this movie till we meet the other gay, I thought this was our gay Zorro.
The other gay? I like how you just let that slip. You're like, I'm pretty sure they're both gay. One is just more flamboyant.
I mean...
Because I think you're right. So he's in bed with this woman who... Through casual conversation, you realize that they are having an affair because very quickly this woman's husband comes in through the window.
Yes. And then her brothers or his uncles or he's got his reinforcements, brothers. Right.
Yes. Come through every door. It is great because there's like 8 doors to this room and at the same time, every door opens and a guy with a sword jumps through.
Yeah, it is funny. And then there is some funny banter that happens when he enters by himself because Zorro's telling, or at the time he's just Don. He tells him, like, I'm much younger than you. I could take you down. Why are you even here trying to fight me? And then the brothers do come out from, like, all the doors. But it's really no match, right?
No, Zorro's amazing. I mean,
he's not Zorro yet. He's Don.
His name is Diego. Don Diego something or other.
I do. So we also meet now Don Diego's brother. So he's got his gay brother, and then he has his
is that his brother?
I thought he calls him his brother. Paco, the mute?
Yes.
Yes. So he's got another brother that's a mute.
I did not think he was a brother, but okay.
I thought that's what he called him, but maybe
I thought he was just his sidekick.
Maybe he means brother as like my friend, my very close mute friend. But he does join the fight, kind of busts in the door too. They have some funny interactions too, because he's mute, so he just kind of signs, but not using sign language, using his own weird
he
body
doesn't
language.
do sign language. He just kind of moves his body and his hands in weird ways, and Diego understands what he's saying.
Yep, and they have a very fun little relationship. But
it's a fun little interaction as Diego is dispatching all of these guys, and his dumpy little mute is like every now and then he'll just like bump a guy with his gut or something, and the guy will fall over. Yes.
But he takes these guys down, and now he's got to leave. I think he tells her, "Adios, mi amor. Take care of yourself." And he leaves.
And he jumps right down. He jumps out the window into a carriage.
Yeah.
And there they go. They're off. And this is... I wrote down some lines. I love this line because he goes to Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
I love it when he shows up and he goes, Los Angeles, California, the birthplace of me.
I wrote that one down, too.
I love that.
He's so grand about it. Yeah. It is kind of... It was hilarious because he says
it was really funny because I did not expect that at all. I mean, you understand that he's full of himself, but that took it to a whole other level.
Well, and then he's shocked that he's in this birthplace and no one's come to greet me at the waters. No one's here to celebrate that I'm back.
Yeah. Yeah, he says something about why is there not a parade?
Yeah. I do think it's funny. You wondered, I think it's supposed to take place in the 1800s. I don't know what timeline we're looking at here because he rides up and then he looks like Sherlock Holmes for a minute. But anyway, he rides up and then they meet. I didn't know at the time who it was. I'm like, meets the Prince of LA? Who is this commander guy that he then runs into who are they're old buddies, right?
They're old childhood friends.
Yes.
And this guy's name, what's his name? Esteban.
Mm-hmm.
So he meets him he's like a military captain. He's in, uniform and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
His wife is there. And it seems like when they were younger, I guess they both had a thing.
Seems like woman. They openly say, they go back and forth, they explain it through dialogue. Oh, remember, we had a rivalry in school. Don't you remember? You thought you were going to marry my wife. And no, look, I'm married to her now.
And every time this woman talks, I'm like, she just finished a pack of cigarettes.
She
has the raspiest
She is very husky voiced. But she, too, I think, does a really great performance when she gets all upset and worked up. Yeah, she's very husky voiced. But she's not thrilled to be married to this commander, this Esteban. She could tell. Would probably much rather be with Don Diego.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, we find out some interesting things about the relationship later. But yes.
And now we also find out, this is when he breaks the news, Esteban breaks the news to Don Diego that his father has passed. And when he tells him how his father passed, his horse was threatened by a turtle.
Yep.
But don't worry, he tells him the turtle was executed.
Yeah, the turtle was executed.
And then I think she gets upset about the turtle because maybe it was a pet turtle of hers. I feel like that happened too. But just that right there, they explain that the father has died and he's kind of comically upset. What? My father? Oh no. And he's like, yes, he was on his horse and he was startled by a turtle. Our tortuga! Our tortuga! No!
I think what this movie really does well at times is a lot of its humor that it's throwing in your face and they're yelling and they're screaming and stuff isn't all that great, but they always have these lines that are just so matter of fact as characters are walking away or as the scene is ending that I felt worked so much better than so much of the other stuff in this movie. And that's just one of those weird things where he says it was executed. And I even had to say, wait, I thought they were talking about a turtle. Are they talking about a human being?
No, because he says, no, a tortuga, no. Oh my God, I love it. Diego gets very sad, very melancholy, right?
Yeah, he goes to his father's grave.
Yeah.
Visits his father's grave. And when he gets back to town, the captain is elected the leader of the town.
It's very weird how it happens. And it's not just the town. He's almost like the head, almost like a mafia head of the family kind of guy. Because it's all these leaders from the different parts, really, of Southern California, San Bernardino, Los Angeles. There's all these different parts of Southern California that kind of merge together. All these leaders, I don't know what you want to call them.
Basically, yes, he is now the leader of this area.
Yes, area
or the
village,
the guy in charge.
Yes.
Everybody has to collect taxes from their district and then bring them to him. That's kind of the deal. That's all you really need to know about who he is.
Yeah.
But yes. But as he's... Oh, go ahead.
You should know the villagers are not happy, or the locals, the people that live amongst his kingdom or reign are unhappy. They've poor treatment and their wages and just their lifestyle overall, right?
Right. Yeah. Somebody even says something like, I'm already paying almost all of my money how am I possibly supposed to pay more of it to you?
Right.
So, so he's basically taking as much money from these people as possible. But Lauren Hutton shows up dressed all in purple. I mean, she looks like she got off the set of Gone with the Wind. And
she does have this big old...
She's distributing flyers like she is a for the people, for the little man crusader.
But it's very funny that they're obviously in a Hispanic Mexican town area, and she's a white woman with blonde hair, and she shows up and is trying to convince these people that they need to revolt, basically, and go against, just
She's
fight for their rights.
Good in this movie. She is not.
I think she does enough.
I guess she does what she's supposed to do.
Yeah. And I liked the way her character was written as I wouldn't say it was probably her strongest performance by any means, but
I do think that because she has an interaction with George Hamilton, where he's talking to her and everything. He's like, "Why are you doing all this? What's so bad about and everything?" And they go back and forth, and there's a lot of exposition. You realize that she's good and that the mayor guy is bad. Basically, that's it. But the whole time, her big billowy dress, there's kids under it.
They're playing in it.
There's 3 or 4 kids. They lift it up and they're laughing and they just go under. And I'm like, oh, she's going to see them and be upset. Nope, not at all.
No, she continues her chatter. No, they do have some funny banter, though, because she talks about how the soldiers are policing the town and the peoples, and he calls them the peoples of the town. And he's like, the soldiers.
His accent is out of
this is what he tells her he's gonna
in this movie.
So first he tells her about the ships in the field. He's talking about, I think, growing up where he was and seeing the ships in the field. And she was like, really? I don't know about the ships in the field. Talk to me about those. The ships. The bababas. The ships.
Because his accent isn't Hispanic. It's like Hispanic and Italian.
Oh, it's
and
so
French,
fun.
Just
it's so fun.
Together.
And then when he comes back later as the gay blade and he's got it's so fun. The other banter that they have is that he is telling her, I know you're a rich woman. Why are you out here doing this? Why are you trying to fight for the poor when you yourself, you're a woman with 3 first names? You must be rich yourself. Because I think her name in the movie is I don't know, Mary Catherine Alexander or something like that.
It is. She's got 3 names. It is Charlotte Taylor Wilson, which is the least ethnic name that you could possibly have.
Charlotte Taylor Wilson, yeah.
So he gets back to, I guess, his family home. I guess that's where he's living.
Yeah.
And an elderly woman brings a casket up.
Consuela.
Poor old lady. She's got a casket, a huge black casket that his dead father is in, presumably, strapped to her back. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he makes her take it in. First, it's just put it wherever you want. And as he's talking, it's just like, no, put it over there. And then they'll talk some more. And he's like, no, over there. Why are you? No, you have to put it over there. And she takes it to 3 locations in the room. She
drags it all over the room as he kind of misdirects her. The whole time having a conversation with Paco, his mute brother.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
About how much he's kind of falling for the Lauren Hutton's character.
Sure.
And so, but this coffin does come, right? And I thought the same thing. I thought it's the body of his father. But
so did I. And then I was like, well, wait. He was just at the mausoleum.
Yeah.
This can't be, but no. It contains his father's secret identity because his dad was Zorro.
Yeah.
Always has been. He gets the mask and he gets the whole outfit and the sword.
The gloves, the sword. Sure, he gets it all.
Right.
Now, there is a note attached that he reads that his father left, and it does say, whichever one of you brothers gets this first, this is your destiny.
And that's why I didn't think Paco was a brother, because...
But maybe he's like that Kennedy, that...
Okay, maybe you're right.
That Kennedy that they put away, and
right. That's right. Yeah, you can be right. Or who was Bill Clinton's weird brother?
That they just don't talk about, and they're just like,
that's right.
Yeah. Yes. So maybe that's what Paco was. Because he's got like red hair, right? And he's like a red-haired white guy.
I don't know. I don't know. Paco at times, not at times, because Paco kind of disappears from this movie after a while or for large stretches.
Yeah.
And we're getting there. When they go to that costume party and he dresses as a bear is my favorite part of this whole movie.
When they ride their horses in. Oh my God.
So Diego decides to put on this Zorro outfit and go to a costume ball because the mayor, leader of the city, is having a big party after his inauguration.
They have these all the time, apparently, the mayor and his wife. They love to have these balls, right?
That's later on. I was like, balls. Oh, wait, the big climax is at a costume ball. We already did this. But so they're going to a costume party. Diego decides to put on the Zorro outfit because that's fun, sure.
Yeah, he's got the outfit.
Paco shows up dressed as a bear. And the running gag is nobody seems to know that he's supposed to be a bear. Where clearly he looks like the bear in The Shining. He looks much like a bear.
It's clearly a bear, but I love it. Even Don says to him, Don Diego is like, "Oh, I don't," and he's so funny because he's kind of cute with Paco. He's like, "Oh, but are you a puppy doggy? You look like a doggy. I don't know." And he feels bad for hurting his feelings. He's like, "Come on, it's okay. We go to the party. It's going to be fun." And they do. They ride off to the ball, right? Don't they ride horseback? And you see them, him in his bear costume riding.
It's so great because nobody
my God.
thinks and understands he's a bear.
Oh my God.
And I love it because on the way they run into a guy who is getting robbed, an old man who just lives in a little hut, an old man with a little girl, and a guy seems to be taking their money.
Yes.
And he says, I am now going to be Zorro. This is my identity now.
It's my destiny. He's thrilled.
Yeah, it's my destiny. I'm going to embrace this. And so he chases this guy down, and they both hit a tree branch and both fall off their horses and then kind of just have a fist fight, which is fun. But the best is when Paco shows up and the guy is so freaked out that he has this weird companion in a creepy animal costume. And at that point, I don't even think he was going to give him the money that he stole. But when Paco shows up in a bear outfit, he's like, here, just take this. Keep that thing away from me.
But it works, and he gets his first thrill of helping the poor, right? Of being the Zorro, fulfilling his destiny. This is when he does his first signature Zorro on the door. He tells the poor man, says, "Oh, I can never thank you enough. Please tell me who you are." And Don Diego, or Zorro now, makes the Z on his door. And the man looks at him and goes, "You mean you're the number 2?
I love it because he's like, "Do you know what that is? Do you know what that symbol is?" That's the number 2. And he's like, "No, it isn't."
And he insists.
Like, my daughter goes to school. That's how they teach her.
They teach her. That's the number 2. Yeah. Oh.
It's fun.
But
it's fun. He returns the money, and I do like he has a great line as they're leaving where he says that he is going to help the helpless, befriend the friendless, defeat the feetless. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is really good. And he even says it, the timing, the delivery was great. And then they go off. They head to the ball, right? Where Paco is eventually not allowed in, right? Don't they stop Paco? They call him a beaver, I think, at one point. Again, nobody knows. For some reason, I don't know who is invited to this ball. Everyone is, or does she sneak in? Because Lauren Hutton's character does appear at this ball, and she refuses to wear a costume.
Yeah,
right?
It's really weird because none of the peasants seem to be allowed in.
No,
and did you notice that every single peasant is wearing the same sombrero? At one point, they're all outside, and it's a shot from the back, and I was like, oh my God, every single hat is just the same. It is no decoration, no different colors. It's like 50 of the exact same hats.
I didn't.
But you're right. Yeah, why was she invited to this party? Because
I don't know if she was invited or she because she's such a protester. Yeah, she's just coming to kind of give the commander what for again, or the mayor, whatever he is, what for.
And but during all this time, he literally just got this outfit, and now he's going to this ball, and news of this Zorro has been spreading.
Well, I think that the guy that was stealing the money was really one of his thug tax collectors. And
he was the guy with the eye patch that you see several times.
So I think he reports back right away, the Zorro. And remember, like you said in the beginning when they set it up, Zorro is sort of legendary. So the fact that he might be back,
I guess he's,
one must wonder.
We don't know how old his dad is, but I guess he's probably been out of commission for a while. So I guess it would be a big deal.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No.
So this party starts, and all they're talking about is about Zorro. Like you said, Lauren Hutton won't wear a costume, so she has to go with the wife or something and put on a costume.
Oh, the wife is angry about it because this is her party. She takes her party very seriously. She also takes Don Diego very seriously and wants to dance with him in his Zorro costume, right? So then she gets to dancing with him, and the Esteban sees this, and he wants to fight, right?
Yes, immediately, because his guys are like, hey, that's that dude.
Yep, that's the Zorro, right?
He's here at this party. He does call him Zero. He keeps calling him Zero.
Yeah.
At this. And they fight immediately.
And it's quite the fight with lots of candles.
It is a long fight. I gotta tell you, I was not into the fight scenes in this movie because they just kept dragging on and on.
Well, there was nothing ultra exciting that happened. Yeah, it wasn't like they did fancy flips. Or this was one of the more exciting ones because they were so close to so many candles at so many points during this fight that I kept thinking something was going to light on fire and this was going to get even crazier. And that never happened.
And I was ready for and he does it later in the movie, but a slash and all the candles fall down. No, nothing. You realize later why they couldn't destroy it, because later in the movie they have to have the same party with the same decorations and everything.
That's what really it is. It is. It's exactly the same. This is, though, he just must fall at some point because Esteban says to him, "Oh, you're clumsy, my friend," and he was like, "Oh, if I was your friend, I would have to be more than clumsy. I would be stupid as well." Which I thought was another great line.
It's pretty good.
And then he cuts Esteban's pants off, right? Is that how that's the way he wins?
He cuts his pants off several times. Not several times, but he cuts his pants and they kind of fall down. But then he has to cut more. They really fall down then. And he's able to make his escape.
Right. Through the toy soldiers. Isn't it interesting the way Esteban's soldiers are dressed like toy soldiers from Babes in Toyland?
Well, I think those are accurate outfits for that time period. But yeah. And he's flirting with Lauren Hutton the whole time as well.
Yes, of course.
And he does get a little cocky and ends up falling out the window.
Well, he's so proud of himself that he's really doing this. He's living out his destiny. He's fighting the bad guy. He's winning. And so he's like, "Yes, my people, I am here. I'm Zorro." And he falls out the window and he breaks his ankle, or he hurts his foot very badly.
Yeah, he breaks his foot or something. And I love it how
he does give a ridiculous grin before he falls down. He's got this George Hamilton shiner.
After that happens and he limps away, Esteban's henchman, I think it's still the guy with the
patch eye,
says in the weirdest way, he's like, he hurt his foot. Now he'll be easy to find. I'm like, what? How did you piece that together? You're just going to look for everyone in the town and outside
with a bad ankle,
Yes. And they kind of do that because immediately we're back at Zorro's house.
Yeah.
And the mayor or whatever, so Esteban's wife shows up.
That's right. And
she puts a ladder up to his window, climbs the ladder, is all over Diego. But
I like how
he's in bed and his foot hurts.
Yeah, he's in bed. He really doesn't want any part of her. I think he's more, first of all, he's kind of got a new crush going on with the protest monster.
Exactly.
And he's found his destiny. So she really is like this little toss with her is really nothing. And she's pretty, I like how she explains to him that she's unhappy in her marriage. They have sex 12 times.
12 times a year.
Is what she says. And we make love 12 times a year. And he was like, well, that's not bad. That's once a month.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Once a month.
She's like, awesome. No, it's one night. He just does it for 12 times. And I love it because then he's like, 12 in one night? What's his trick? What does he do? She's like, a lot of garlic.
That's one of those things where the joke is they have sex 12 times in one night and no more for the rest of the year. But the real joke is when he's like, what does he eat? Does he eat something special like oysters?
He does. He has about oysters.
So at this same time, though, I guess Diego has realized that his good friend who just showed up in town did not attend the costume party, which everybody's in costume. How does he know?
How does he really know it?
So he decides to go immediately to his house.
And say, where were you?
I still think, I don't know. Throughout this movie, maybe I'm giving Diego more credit than he deserves, but there are several times where he seems to suspect his friend of being Zorro, and this is like immediately, I think that he thinks it's his friend.
I think that he does. Well, plus, and the wife has to hide, by the way, and she hides in the coffin where the Zorro outfit is.
Yes, exactly.
But I guess he didn't hang it back up in there. Right?
You must have noticed the eyeliner before I did, because when they're talking, this is the point in my notes where I wrote he wears an obscene amount of eyeliner.
He does. When he's talking to the mayor or when he's talking to
the mayor. Yes. Because he busts right into his room and he's like, this guy named Zorro showed up. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and where were you? Yeah.
And, George Hamilton is like, oh, I'm sleepy or something. I forget what the excuse is.
Yeah, I think he says he wasn't feeling well.
Right, and he's laying in bed, and Diego does suspect him of being Zorro because he wants to see him walk.
Oh, that's right. This is when that happens.
Yes, it is such a. This is so hammy and weird.
Oh.
I knew this movie was strange before this scene, but this is one of those scenes where they're trying to ham one another, or something is happening.
Fun. I thought it was so fun. So yeah, he wants to check. He says, well, the Zorro, he's putting things together like, well, you weren't at my party and Zorro was, and where were you then? And
he wears a lot of eyeliner.
Yeah.
You wear a lot of eyeliner.
Right. And he's not, and so he does. He says, well, the thing is he hurt his foot. So if he hurt his foot, he wouldn't be able to jump or run in place or do some dancing or do all this crazy stuff.
And he has him do these things one after another. And
they do it together,
They do it together. And this is not the only time in this movie when they will do weird things and motions and body movements and dances together.
And it's Esteban just shouts at him the whole time.
Just shouts at him, run, walk, step, jump, turn, kick.
And you can see this weird agony, but then it happens all really fast.
But he's quick to cool down too, because immediately he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm just this Zorro guy. He has me totally out of control. And then he stabs the coffin because he's like, I'm so angry sometimes.
Right. He can't control his temper, and he stabs the coffin where he thinks the wife is. And
no, he doesn't know the wife's in there.
No, he doesn't. But Don Diego does.
Right. Yeah.
So he looks at it like, oh no, he just stabbed his. I think he listens even for a heartbeat at the coffin.
This is a good part here too, because after he stabs the thing, he's just trying to get him out, and he turns around and sees that his mask is on the dresser, and he runs over and picks it up and starts wiping
dusting
the mirror.
with it. Yeah. He's like, I hope you'll find this Zorro cat.
Yeah, and basically Diego's like, all right, okay, you have things to do. Sorry, I got to go find this Zorro guy and everything. And it is revealed that his wife is okay.
Yes,
she's fine.
Yes, she pops out. She was kind of hiding off to the side in the coffin, and she's thankful. It's scared, startled, but thankful.
Right. Yeah, I think she even thanks the fact that she has tiny breasts. I think is what she said.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, and again, This movie is called Zorro the Gay Blade.
Sure.
There is no gay blade.
Well, like I said, you have to...
we went through this movie. We're like a half hour into this movie at this point. Mm-hmm. This is where... Who tells... Oh, so Zorro starts to get some more information about how terrible the mayor is. And I really enjoyed this part.
Go ahead, you enjoyed.
Where he's told that all firstborn males must be named after him, even the pets.
It's a reign of terror, I think is what they call it. Like they have those little...
they have like a little poster, yes.
Yeah, and it says the reign of terror goes on for 3 weeks. So things are getting bad. His control is becoming he's out of control. And Zorro, Don Diego cannot perform as Zorro with this injury.
He's hurt. He can't save these people from the tyranny of Diego. He's taxing them.
Of Esteban,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Esteban, yes.
No. So he's kind of he's nursing his injury. Don Diego, who is Zorro, is nursing his injury and is all broken up because this is his destiny, and now he can't fulfill his destiny because of this stupid foot injury. But who comes to visit? Which I was like, who's this guy now? But his brother Ramon? Is it Ramon, the brother?
It is Ramon. I mean, it's Ramon for 2 seconds in this movie, yes.
Ramon shows up, and now Ramon's been away in England, I guess?
Yeah, his father thought that he wasn't manly enough, so sent him to be in the military.
Yes.
In England, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great because he shows up and he's like, oh, I'm not Ramon anymore. I went to the military. My name now is Bunny Wigglesworth. And I was like, and nowhere in this movie does somebody go, Bunny Wigglesworth is not a name. That is the least shocking thing that I guess happens.
Mm-hmm. My name.
His brother doesn't even say, oh, well... It's pretty easy. When I assumed the director was like, I don't know, George, act gayer than you already are acting.
He's like, can I make him British? Great! Then I'll do it.
No, just keep him gay. Oh, okay.
Lovely.
Yeah. Oh. So, yeah, his brother, whose name is Bunny Wigglesworth, shows up. Mm-hmm. Luckily, we don't really get their conversation. They don't really have to rehash what's happening and the fact that their dad was Zorro and the fact that, Esteban's a bad guy. They kind of get all that off screen. So we sort of understand, or we're just put into, the idea that now Bunny...
Well, we do have a titular line spoken here.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. I even put that in my notes and I forgot.
Yeah, we do have spoken by Bunny himself. When the message sort of is relayed, like, okay, you're gonna have to take over the duties of Zorro because we need somebody to fight this oppressing reign. And how does he say it? He says that I will be Zorro, the Gay Blade. Right?
Yes, he just comes right out and says it. And this is where, for some reason, that doesn't make any sense, but I guess it's just to get laughs, he paints half his face like George Hamilton, and half his face is Bunny Wigglesworth. He turns side to side and even talks like Diego on one side, and then will turn and do his bunny voice with the other side.
And one side of him, because when he's Bunny Wigglesworth, he's kind of got blonder hair, right? He's got kind of blonde hair.
He's got almost like a powdered wig. Yeah.
Yeah. He does this back and forth transformation. Even his outfit, I think.
Yep. No.
Yeah,
yes.
It's all halfsies.
It's everything. Yeah. He is even... And I like that they make reference to the fact that George Hamilton is so tan. Like, he even says, you're so dark. And half of his face is dark. And half of it is
all
very
powdered.
light.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Now, when he's Zorro, he has a sword. But when he's Zorro Gay Blade, he has a whip.
Yeah, the Gay Blade isn't into the sword. He wants to use a whip. And he wants to I guess, dress up the outfits. He wants to...
Yeah, he sparks it out a little.
Right, yeah, he's not into the all-black look.
No, as a matter of fact, the first outing he does, he wears a plum outfit.
A plum, yes. And he whips his entire name. It's
not just the Z. No, he spells...
And it is pretty funny because you just see him continue to whip. It's a very long and drawn out scene because he whips several times for each letter that is then on the wall. And he's just smiling the whole time.
With that crazy smile, yes. So he goes then and he kind of makes up for lost time, right? As Zorro the Gay Blade. And he starts kind of fighting all the... Yeah.
But you don't see any of this.
No, you don't.
You see the one thing... But you hear it because, of course, each and every one of his tax collectors, or I guess the people in charge of different districts, have to come back and talk about this crazy new Zorro that has been taking their money. And each one is not necessarily... Each description isn't better than the other one, but I just love how... I love how Esteban is trying to piece this together as though it means something. Like the color of his
he's trying to
match up with fruits and vegetables. So he's trying to put
He's trying
this
to
all
decipher
together.
a message. Yeah, he's trying to figure out what is Zorro trying to tell me. Because the first guy comes and he says, yes, he did it. But he was in a different colored suit. And he says, color, like what? And he's described as plum, avocado colored, banana colored.
Yep.
Red, and he even asked them, like, red like a tomato, red like a strawberry? No, red like a rose. Oh, so now he's doing flowers?
Yeah, that really threw me because I love the first two it's fruit, and he's like, fruit. And then the guy says green like an avocado, and he's like, avocado is a vegetable. And then
they're like, no.
No, wait, I think it's a fruit. It's like, no, it's a vegetable. And he's even like, okay, so 2 fruits, a vegetable, a flower. He's really trying to put this together.
Trying to figure out what does this all mean, right? His outfits, though, when you do pay a little bit, like he wears a blue. At one point, we see Zorro the Gay Blade in a blue outfit. He wears it a couple times. This hat that has that like a fringe effect on it, like tassels on it.
After this, and I said that we don't see him doing this. After these guys describe it, we do see a little bit of a montage of him helping people.
Really, but more of him in the outfits helping people, like sort of.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just more of him in the outfits.
It. It's more like a show, And I like it as he's trying to track him and more people keep coming in. Instead of asking, like, where'd you see him? What did he do? His question is, what color was he wearing? What color was he wearing for you? What color was he wearing when you saw him?
But this is kind of all just to get us to Lauren Hutton again because we've forgotten that she's in this movie.
Right.
This is just to get a scene of the two of them together.
Oh, yes.
I guess she seems to have some connection to him, which I was like, she just met him for one night at that ball.
Yeah, but she's so into him that he's fighting for the people.
I mean, she literally says, I would do anything. You asked me to.
And he goes, you mean like let's go shopping? And she's kind of like I guess so, maybe.
Yeah, and she keeps coming on to him, and he's even walking to the door, and he opens the door, and he's like, perhaps next time, as he's leaving.
So yeah, it's kind of a good thing because he doesn't ruin it for the Gay Blade doesn't ruin it for Don Diego.
No.
The thing he's got going out.
He doesn't know what to do in that situation because it seems like, his brother was Zorro for a day. So there's not a whole lot of information to give him, but I assume he didn't say anything about this Lauren Hutton woman to him. Anyway, the mayor, we get the second scene with the mayor and Diego together.
So this is when he accuses him. Now he's really on his trail.
He even brings over a poster of Zorro and unrolls it and describes it while he's staying next to George Hamilton. Then he goes, does he look like anyone? And George Hamilton goes, he looks like Zorro.
This is when he asked him, though, how is it now? He goes, no, Zorro is a gay. He's not. This is when he tells him to talk like a sissy boy, right?
Yeah. Say something.
I want you to say something like a sissy boy. And this is when they do their back and forth. he kind of tries to make him dance and move and
crazy. It is crazy.
Well,
if you don't want to watch this movie,
just watch this
clip on YouTube. I found it when I was looking for this movie because he is just like swing your hips and flap your wrists, and they are dancing and loving life and laughing and both prancing around. And this is, again, I think this is the part of the movie, the only part of the movie that could be seen as offensive, but it is so,
but it's so silly,
over the top.
It's so silly that you can't. That I agree. This is when some of the lines are dropped that you're like, ooh, would you say that? But in this type of a movie and the way this is played out, it's so over the top. It's so silly
because they're just yelling,
you're just
and
laughing,
dancing, and running around,
and shaking the hips.
Yeah, I'm like, this is kind of like Robin Williams in The Birdcage.
Yes.
Was that offensive? Because this is not nearly as terrible as that.
No, you're right, and it is. It's another fun interaction between these two. I think
it is, but it is interrupted by
a
scene that I found so painful, where he sees the gay blade outside. He sees someone wearing a long robe and a hood, and it's the gay blade disguised as a monk.
No, it's not. I think it's the gay blade, like going out as the gay blade, but then to cover up, they say that it's a monk. Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I didn't write down a single bit of dialogue because I was bored senseless. Well, I'm sure they were saying something funny, but I was like, I need to get to something here.
So they say, I think because again, Don Diego is trying to cover up, like, who is this person really? And he calls him the dressmaker for the padre, he definitely kind of says he's some sort of like padre of some kind, because he has him bless him. He says, can we pray over him? Because as he's trying to get away, he's like, well, see you, I have things to tend to. The Esteban asked him to pray over him. He says, I have to find this Zorro, I need your if you really are a godly man, please pray over me, and just pray that and he does some kind of weird prayer thing that he says to kind of wish him luck and sends him on his way, right?
And I think he even says something like, this is my
destiny?
No, does Diego say something like, this is my brother, or this is my friend, or
I think
something?
He calls him a
cousin? He uses cousin.
I don't know, because
he
uses cousin again. No, I think he says something about it being somebody's dressmaker. I don't remember.
It's some relation to him or somebody that he knows, which makes it funny because then the gay blade rides away on the horse and it's like, you idiots. And so that makes
that's when he yells.
Oh, he tricked me.
And that makes Esteban yell fruitcake at him, doesn't he?
Yes. Yep. That's exactly right.
Yes. And now we have another, this is when now Esteban's wife wants to have a ball because she has a necklace that she wants to kind of show off.
She wants to show off this necklace. So he decides that, okay, this necklace is going to lure Zorro in for some reason, and then he will want to steal it to, I guess, give back to the people. Great plan. He'll show up, and I'll be ready for him, I guess. I guess that's the entirety of his plan. And Zorro does show up.
Well, not just Zorro. So he has this... I do like... did you mention the outfit? So it's one of these masquerade parties, right? So I guess they're supposed to wear some sort of a costume. And Esteban is in this weird king, he's even got a fake belly. He's in a weird king costume. He's carrying around a goblet and he's got the fake tummy on, and his little toy soldiers are nearby. And everyone starts showing up to the party and they're all wearing Zorro costumes, right?
Zorro. But it is pretty great how he's like, what do you think? He's just going to walk through the door and say, I'm here. And of course the door opens and Diego walks in as Zorro goes, I'm here. But then every person shows up dressed as Zorro because they all got a message to come to this party dressed up as Zorro.
To kind of trick them out. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Smart moves.
And this doesn't really, I guess it's just so that Zorro can blend in, because that idea of them all being Zorros doesn't really matter, because Bunny Wigglesworth.
Well, she comes in as Margarita Wigglesworth. Yeah. I think that's how she's introduced.
Right. I guess as all this has been happening, I guess Diego's foot has healed. So he's now dressed as Zorro.
Yeah.
And you're right. The gay blade shows up dressed as a woman in a powdered wig and a big dress, and he looks super ugly. And of course, Esteban loves her.
Esteban says, I think he says, and she's introduced as a cousin, I think, right? Yes. From out of town. And he looks at Don Diego and he says, your cousin isn't a woman. And Don Diego gets nervous, like, oh no, he knows. He goes, she's a goddess. It's like, what? But so, she shows up to this party, or he shows up to the party, and now he, as Margarita Wigglesworth, or Bunny, kind of throws himself onto the wife, admiring her necklace, trying to help her out.
Spills
and she wants
wine, right? Spills wine all over her.
Mm-hmm. And she wants nothing to do with him. She is so upset by him. She goes from 0 to like crazy. This is a funny interaction though too. So she's got her necklace on, obviously, and because of this necklace, she is being guarded by a bunch of Esteban's men, right? But then when she stains up her dress and she has to go into the bathroom, they can't go in there. The guards can't go in there, but Margarita or Bunny Wigglesworth can, because she is a woman. So when she goes in there, she does this whole like almost like a weird Heimlich maneuver. She's like back and forth. Let's do this, because she's trying to get the necklace off of her. Right. Mm-hmm. She kind of falls over herself to get to her, and the Esteban's wife is so upset by this that she's just like, get off, get away from me, let me be free, let me get out of here. She does, and she's like, I don't know how anybody spends time with that woman. And her necklace is gone.
Her necklace is gone. It was all part of the plan.
When she goes into the bathroom, it's written with lipstick on the bathroom, the Z.
Right.
Oh.
So they all realized that Diego, who showed up and said, this is my cousin.
Yes.
His cousin was Zorro, I guess, dressed as his cousin, because nobody detains Diego. Diego's like, I'm shocked by this.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea. She fooled me.
And this is also a point in the movie where he gets the necklace. The two of them meet up. Diego and Bunny Wigglesworth meet up.
Yes. Oh,
and
yeah.
Bunny Wigglesworth is like, oh, I guess my time in this movie is over. And he leaves, and I'm like, the gay blade has been in this movie for a half hour.
That's all we needed.
Like,
that's all we needed.
It's like 45 minutes, and at this point, it was an hour 15 into an hour and a half movie. And I was like, oh, I guess that's it.
No, that's it. She rides off, or he rides off onto his horse back to England, to not be the gay blade anymore, to just live his life.
Just go back to the military.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, and then this isn't the happy fight. This isn't the complete ending, though.
It's not, because this is finally Diego / Zorro gives this necklace to Lauren Hutton. And they finally kiss.
Oh, yes.
And she always knew he was Zorro. And I love it how she's like, for a while I wasn't sure, but I was pretty sure.
They do have their passionate kiss, but then the word gets out that she's got the necklace and that she's going to help the poor people. And that's not what the government wants at all.
No.
So they decide they're going to capture her and make kind of an example of her in the town square by executing her.
Right.
Paco, our mute brother, gets wind of all of this, right? He hears this somehow. And he runs back, signs it to Diego. So they go to the town square. They've captured her. They are going to execute her. She's
firing squad.
Yes.
I mean, they have her tied to a post in the middle of the square. Everybody, the whole town is out to see this. Soldiers are lined up with guns to shoot her for, I guess, having the necklace, which makes sense, I guess.
I mean, she got it from Zorro, and they can't get Zorro, so they're trying to prove a point. But
this
then,
is
of
why
course,
superheroes have to wear costumes.
Exactly.
They have to protect their identity. And their friends and loved ones.
And their friends and loved ones. They need to get costumes for them, too.
Just a bunch of people hanging out in a restaurant wearing costumes.
We just don't want people to know. She's looking around the crowd, though. The crowd is feeling like, when is Zorro going to come and save the day? And sure enough, he does come. She's going to go down, but he sacrifices himself. He says, I will give you can capture me if you will set her free.
Exactly.
And when he does that, he even says, one of the lines is, I'm impressed with myself as well. Like, I can't believe I did that. Yes, I too am impressed with me. I just did that. I sacrificed myself. But
they kind of just switch places. Mm-hmm, he's at the post, tied up, about to be shot.
Yeah.
But then a second Zorro in a more flashy outfit than we've seen in this
He's in gold this time.
Mm-hmm. It is shimmering gold. It's beautiful. Like he's wrapped in aluminum foil, spray painted gold.
It's very shimmery, very shiny, and he is ready for the fight.
Yes.
And the villagers are too, right?
Oh, the villagers turn on the army, and then the army kind of turns on
Esteban. Yeah. They finally get, and even his wife turns on Esteban. Esteban goes, but I know you'll stick by my side. And she's like, you do have a sense of humor.
Right.
And she just moves on like, no, we are over. We are so over.
Oh, we did forget to mention at one point he and his wife are alone and standing in like the ballroom, and he's like,
he
dancing, and he has her on the ground, and he's like, you know that thing that we do once a year? And she's like, yeah. He's like, there's still 3 more months left. And he walks away.
That's right. Again, lots of great one-liners in this. Lots of them. Oh.
So the bad guy is soundly defeated at the end.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, happy ending. Okay, great. Like we but was it them? Oh, no. It's not the gay blade and him. No, it's him and his wife when they talk about moving. And it's his wife. He ends up marrying
Lauren Hutton's character. Whoever that is. Yeah.
The 3 names. I have it written down, the 3 names. Yes, the gay blade rides off now that he's saved the day for the final time. And now the woman with 3 names and Don Diego can be wed. And they're talking about their future together. And she wants to move to Boston. Because it's a great city. Did you hear all of that?
No, not at all.
They have this very random, very silly conversation where he's like, and then he's like, well, why would I move to, like, she's like, I was thinking maybe you can give all your land to the people because you have so much land. Right. He was like, why would I do that, love? Where would we live? And she's like, well, I was thinking we'd move to Boston. It's such a great city and we should move there.
Is that how it ends?
Yes.
Oh my God! I did not listen to that conversation.
The end.
Oh right, the end.
And that's Zorro the Gay Blade.
You are laughing out loud just remembering this movie.
Yes, I have to tell you, I didn't know. I thought, oh no, I didn't know how this was gonna go down, and I thought it was going to have some uncomfortable moments because I just thought it was going to be... It was wonderful. I enjoyed this movie. Wow. I laughed out loud so much. I had so much fun with it. I thought it was goofy and silly. It was like a Mel Brooks movie or something. I enjoyed it.
I could see that, yeah.
I really did. Yeah.
Well, Jamie, that's why we do this podcast. Because I could not stand it.
You hated it.
I hated it.
Really?
I hated it. I mean, in talking to you, when we watched Buckaroo Banzai and you said you loved it, there's no way I would ever go back and watch that movie again. But listening to your love for this movie makes me think I might be wrong because I did not like it.
What made you hate it?
I found it extremely boring. I was so bored watching this. I did not think it was as funny as you did. Now, remembering back, there were some funny lines, but I was so bored. Every set piece, every location. If you told me this movie was shot over the course of 1 week, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably right. Because every house looked the same. Every costume looked the same. Like, it was It looked like garbage, and I was so bored by it. Yeah.
Oh, see, I guess if you were looking for some sort of, I mean, I just thought it was, I loved his accent was so extreme. The acting was so over the top. I was like you, like said in the beginning, like I don't really know that I know George Hamilton's work from anything else, but I thought if this is what I know of him, he was so fun. And I think, it was so silly and such a fun romp. And I love the accents, and I love that it wasn't, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to be offended by it, you could, but I didn't think you could because it was so goofy. It was like a Blazing Saddles. I had a lot of fun with it. I was pleasantly surprised.
You had told me that you had to do this before. I have never had to watch a movie in installments before this one.
Oh.
I had to watch it in 3 parts.
Maybe that's what made it long.
I couldn't get through it. Like, I seriously watched the first, like, half hour before Bunny Wigglesworth even showed up, and I was like, I can't watch any more of this.
Oh, no.
And I had to come back to it. Yeah. Oh. I was not a fan. And once Bunny Wigglesworth left, I was like, I know there's only 20 minutes left, but I can't watch it. And I had to come back to it again. Yeah. Well, I might be wrong. I want people to let us know. I've heard from a surprising amount of people that know of this movie.
Well, I could see why, though. I could see why. I'm sad that I didn't know about it because I like. Yeah,
You're okay to like it. Don't feel bad.
Oh, I don't feel bad about it.
I think I might be wrong here.
I don't feel bad. I'm proud to say Zorro Gay Blade, my jam.
2 thumbs up.
Enthusiastic, yeah.
Oh my God. True. Do you have any recommendations to this?
Well, when you think about the whole actors playing 2 roles, there really are so many of them, and it was hard to narrow that down. But while I watched this movie and watching George Hamilton's performance and the way he played the Don Diego, and he was sort of this like funny, sweet, sensitive Hispanic goofball, I guess. Right. Have you ever seen the show? Now I'm going to recommend a TV show, an Amazon show, Mozart in the Jungle.
No, Prime always tells me to watch it.
It really is. It's got that Gael Garcia Bernal. He was from Amos Perros and that Motorcycle Diaries.
Sure.
He plays a conductor of, I think it's the New York Symphony or New York Orchestra. And his character that he plays is this silly kind of Mexican. He's the conductor, but he's got this sort of naive, sweet. He's not a gay Blade, mind you, but the way he plays the character and just the way it reminded me a lot of, I guess, Don Diego.
Okay.
So
I always wonder about that show because
it's really good.
Amazon Prime, it's just this big picture of, I guess, the cast because like Bernadette Peters is
there for some reason. Yes, and she does a great job too.
Dressed in these insanely lavish outfits, and I'm like, is this like it almost looks like a high fantasy thing. I'm like, is this about like castles and dragons?
Yeah, what's happening here?
Or is it about Mozart? I didn't know, but
the picture I've seen that too, and it doesn't do it justice. It's produced by and I think adapted by Jason Schwartzman and some Coppola is attached to it as well. Jason Schwartzman is in it too for a little bit. And I enjoy him. So, but yeah, it's a really good show. I think it's on 3 or 4 seasons.
All right.
And it is. It's just fun. And Gael Garcia Bernal does a great job in it. He's very sweet. And
I like a Jason Schwartzman, and you throw a Coppola in there. Okay.
You'll like it. You'll like it. You're happy with that. So what is yours? Where do you go?
I chose a gay comedy.
Okay.
From just a few years ago called GBF.
Oh,
called
I don't
Gay Best Friend. That's what it stands for.
Oh.
It's about a high school kid who is outed. But because it's recent, it's kind of, he becomes popular once he is outed as gay.
Ah, I see.
And then like the queen bees of the school, like the mean girls,
sure.
like they give him a makeover and they want him to hang out with them and everything. It's directed by the same guy that made Jawbreaker.
Oh, cool.
But it's a lot lighter than Jawbreaker.
Okay.
But it's like a super fun movie. So that's my recommendation.
Good rec.
A movie that I thought was a little more funny.
Oh,
than Zorro the Gay Blade.
This was great. This was really great.
Oh, Jamie, this might be your sleepaway camp.
I felt like it, especially because I really didn't expect to like it. I thought I was like, oh, this is going to be so camp. I thought it was going to. I just didn't think I was setting myself up for a bad time, and I didn't. It delivered wholeheartedly. I was laughing out loud from the start of it.
I'm gonna have to reach out to George Hamilton and see if maybe he can call you
on
your birthday or something.
That would be so lovely. Uh-huh.
All right, so that is it for this episode. But we have another movie coming up, and
they keep coming.
I was thinking with our next movie, since we plan ahead, we don't have a summer camp movie this year. So this might be the closest thing we get to it, even though it's not a camp, but it's in the Catskills. And, Jamie, sometimes we watch movies that nobody's seen, like Zorro the Gay Blade.
Yeah.
But sometimes we watch movies that everyone's seen, like Dirty Dancing.
Oh, yeah. The lovely, the delightful, the Jennifer Grey at her best Jennifer Grey. And the Patrick Swayze, I don't know, Roadhouse Patrick Swayze is pretty good.
Is that her best Jennifer Grey? She's pretty great in Ferris Bueller. I got to tell you, other than Charlie Sheen, she might be my favorite person in Ferris Bueller. But at least she's in that scene with Charlie Sheen, which is my favorite scene of Ferris Bueller.
That's amazing for you.
I love that. No, she's great. I mean, okay. I don't know. We could spoil our thoughts on Dirty Dancing because I've seen it way more times.
I had seen it a lot back in the day, but I haven't seen it in a while. There was a summer, maybe I should share. I'll share this story when we actually do the movie.
Was there a summer where you dated a guy and he was like, I need to break the window of this car, and he smashed it with a rock just so you wouldn't get rained on?
No one ever put me in a corner. No, there was nothing like that ever happened. I can't wait to watch it again with these new eyes. These new eyes that are such fans of Zorro the Gay Blade and George Hamilton's comedy career. Yes.
You'll be like, Patrick Swayze is okay, but he's no George Hamilton.
It's true.
You know who should have played Jennifer Grey's dad? George Hamilton.
I'm seeing him in a lot of things. I'm not even kidding you.
All right, everybody. Well, we will see you again in 2 weeks when we talk about Dirty Dancing. Remember, if you want to listen to us talk about Blame It on Rio,
and many others,
Patreon page, and many others.
We've got more. So
well, we will have more. That's the only thing we have now on our Patreon page, but we will have more.
Yeah.
So go over, check it out. Patreon.com/Good Times Great Movies. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We never say stuff like that. So every now and then we like to. All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Yeah.
He was dressed in yellow like a big banana.
Podtron. This podcast is part of the Podtron Podcast Network. For more, visit podtron.wordpress.com and Podtron Network on Twitter and Facebook.